If I went back to my former self who had reservations of living this life, knowing what I know now, 4 months in, there is so much I would say to her. My name's Sal, and I'm the other half of the bus build. Come on in.
It's almost indescribable, the freedom that we have achieved. I've probably wanted to do this sort of lifestyle for easy at least 15 years. So far, it has exceeded my expectation. My name's Anthony. I'm one half of the bus build. We live with all our adult kids. But they were getting to the age now where they had their own dreams and were talking about moving out. We just happened to be watching a lot more YouTube videos, as a lot of people did during the pandemic. And we saw a young bloke from Western Australia who had bought a Toyota Coaster, and he'd put a leather couch in it and made bunk beds for his mates, and he seemed to be having the most amazing time. That's the first time we'd ever heard of a Toyota Coaster. So we decided to get an empty shell and start again. We sold our Land Rover, we sold our other car, we paid off our remaining small debts, and then we started saving money madly. And we bought this as an empty shell. We brought it back to our home with our kids on the Sunshine Coast, and over the next year and a half, we built it from scratch to where it is today. One of the requirements for the bus, for both of us to live in, was one, on mostly my behalf, it had to be functional. Everything built in it had to serve a purpose, and that purpose had to be towards living in a bus full time. My partner's priority was the other way around. It had to be nice to live in. You had to feel that this was an enjoyable place to call home. So we had to combine the two. Through lots of research, lots of other YouTube videos, and my very practical nature, that's how the bus evolved. Putting in a simple USB port would take days of research to make sure I got it right first time. And that's how it sort of evolved. And so far, there's nothing we would actually change. Over 18 months, we built the bus out and then left.
We have very specifically given every part of this bus a name so that when we're communicating with each other, we know exactly what we're talking about. Here is what we affectionately call the powder room, which is this top area here and the drawer. And the bottom drawer is what we have termed as the shed. Now, we thought long and hard about the options that we would do for our fridge, whether we'd go one of the really expensive Bushmans, which is specific for camping. But we actually decided just to go a normal standard fridge, which runs on $240. The price difference was insane, and with the warranties that the Chic fridge has, we would have to go through 5 or 6 of these fridges to meet the same cost of a Bushman's fridge. So that's why we decided to go this option. We also wanted the extra size so that we can go off grid for longer periods of time, which the smaller fridge we wouldn't have that capacity to do. Above the fridge we have the library. So this is where we have just all the bits and pieces. This is our entire paperwork, essentially, and what you would deem in a home as the filing cabinet. All the little bits and pieces, our shopping bags, our drone bag we keep up in here, and then in behind there we also have our server as well. We have what a lot of people mistake as a coffee machine. However, it is not. If you know anything about the Ninja Creamy, it is actually an ice cream maker. Now, we both used to be into gym. We are still very much into fitness, but we do it outdoors obviously now. And protein for us is a very important part of our diet. So we actually make and almost have it daily protein ice cream. And I'm sure that we will have some beautiful recipes to share with you coming up. we both absolutely love our coffee. So we have our Breville coffee grind here, and we have our favourite coffee beans that we get. And we have our trusty little Snow Peak kettle here. Now this is a dual purpose, as everything really needs to be dual purpose when you live in a tiny home. It is a percolator, which we only usually pull out the insert for the percolator when we have visitors. But when it's just the two of us, we just boil water and use the AeroPress, and that makes the most amazing coffee that we have every single day. We have our spices along here, all in alphabetical order. We wanted to be able to have the fruit sitting out on display, but when you have a mobile home, obviously a bowl isn't always as practical. Yeah, it's easily accessible and aesthetic. So again, we've got that dual purpose happening there. Up on top, we've got some of our pantry items. Now we decided not to go the big overhead cupboards for a couple of reasons. One of them was because we didn't want to cram in the space, because overhead cupboards often make that overhead space quite a lot shorter. So we consciously decided that we wanted to have just little open shelves that were narrow, but it's actually quite amazing how much that does store up there. And we simply use the non-stick lining that you can get just from Bunnings, and we've just lined that in there, and these guys don't move at all. It's really quite amazing. And we have done some rough driving and nothing has fallen down, touch wood. We had big discussions around what sort of sink that we wanted to have. We thought long and hard about exactly what it was that we wanted, and this is what we came up with. Again, a dual purpose. So we have our beautiful chopping board, which is the same timber as the bench top, and it's routed in so it doesn't move. We bring this out and we have our beautiful big Safito sink in here, but we've also chosen to have an inside sink portable bucket because it actually collects the water for the way that we do our washing up, and it just saves, again, if you want to do the washing up and put water in there, you don't need anywhere near as much as that full sink. But this sink is also big enough if I want to wash my hair without having to set up the shower, I can easily do that over there as well. When Anth was researching what we wanted to do for our tap and our sink, he came across a YouTube video where a guy was doing his van walkthrough as well, and he had one of these babies, which Anth went and found where you could get it from. It is the most amazing water saving device. When you have the little silver thing pointing backwards, we turn on and we have already water saving, but plenty of water coming out through there. When we turn it to the front, it brings it to a fine mist, and that, would you believe, is enough to wash your hands. It's enough to rinse off your dishes when you're washing up, and the amount of water that it uses is very, very minimal. This little guy here is our double filtered water for drinking, which is just amazing. It tastes absolutely beautiful. We've got over here, this is an under bench container which has our hand soap in it. Over here we have our water pump switch, and we have a light so that we know to turn it off. I'm going to turn it on, and that pumps through, and then we turn it off when we finish. Once the accumulator has filled up, once you turned on the pump, it actually pressurizes and holds about 750 mils. So you don't have to use it every single time that you want to use the tap, which is fantastic. In the kitchen here, this is our big utensils and everything drawer really. So again, IKEA, we absolutely love the IKEA kitchen system. This is pretty much all of our containers that we use, plus our AeroPress coffee. This little guy here is our gas burner that we use when our solar seems to be not charging greatly because of the low sun in winter. But this Soto gas burner has been a game changer. It's just an absolute wonderful little burner there. We have the next drawer up, obviously. We've also got the induction cooker that we use most of the time, especially when the solar is fully charged. And then in the top drawer, we have all our cutlery. In the bottom drawer down here, we have our air fryer that we use a lot. We have our Instant Pot that we also use. We've got some amazing recipes that I'm sure I will share with you over the course of the channel. And then all of our other little bits and pieces. Once again, when you are limited on space...
What's that white thing up the back corner?
Oh, this is the Easy-O yogurt. Again, when we're wanting to get our protein in, we have a lot of yogurt. Coming to our middle set of drawers, this is our pantry, and you would think that it may not be big enough, and it actually doesn't look big enough, but we couple that with our larder, which is under the seat that I sit on here. Between these two, that is plenty of space for us. A lot of the food that we eat is fresh, so it does get stored in our nice size fridge as well, but this is plenty for us. Then this drawer is Ant's clothes, and everything that he owns is literally in here. Once again, when you live in a bus, you can't have clothes upon clothes upon clothes. And then these two, yes, I'm a girl, they are both mine, which I am very grateful to Anth for. We have quite a clever locking system that Anth came up with. These are little child locks in here. So when we want to travel, to stop the drawers from coming over, we flip them open here, and that there locks into this little mechanism up in here, and that stops the drawer from coming open. Now on the heavier drawers, we've actually had to install 2 of those locks because a couple of them did break over time as we were going over some rough roads. But the 2 is fantastic, and all you have to do to unlock them is grab our little unlocker, which is a little magnetic attachment, and it comes in here. You run it down, and if you have a look here, it actually unlocks. So if I move the magnet away and then unlock it, and then when you're stayed in one place, all you have to do is once again unlock it, and then the drawers are permanently unlocked. Here's our under sink. Now we have lots of bits and pieces. It's just usually the utility side of the things that we use in the bus. Spare toilet paper, cleaning products, bathroom bags, bin. Anth has an amazing automatic opener in here, and I'm sorry you're looking inside a full bin there, that's a bit gross. Garbage bags, what have you. In under here, when we pull out this container, is where the switch is that takes it from one water tank to the other. So once we've run out of one, we then just switch it over in behind under here, and then that starts draining from the second water tank. We don't have any hot water, and that's actually a really good point. When we tell people that we don't have hot water, they just go, what the heck, that makes no sense. But for us, the only time when you think about it that you really use hot water is for washing up. So it's easier for us to just put the kettle on, either the gas burner or the induction cooker, heat up the water and then pop it into the bucket there. The hot water system is probably this big, it's quite large. So we originally did have the plan and had purchased one, and decided that no, we're not going to use it. We're going to use the space for, as you can see, a very full cupboard under there, and we have not missed it. We really haven't missed it. So if you're watching this and you're wanting to build your own bus or van, just consider that. It may be a space saver for you too. If we have a look down under here, and you get to see my little fluffy slippers because we're in Tassie and it's very cold today. This is our underbed storage. Part of it, you can access it obviously from outside the bus as well. We have a cleverly amended little latch there because this door kept coming open, and Ant's always a solutions guy. So he attached a little bit of an elastic there to keep that locked. But in under here is where we keep our shower that's easily accessible. We have the little hot water heater that we attach with the pipework that Ants has already talked about. Two reasons why we don't have fly screens on our window in a permanent setting is because one, it's butt ugly, and apologies to any coaster owner who has the security screens. We just simply didn't like them. So we thought, well, what other method can we come up with? What other solution can we come up with that will bring a practical stopping of flies and mosquitoes coming in, but without the need for the permanent setting? So these fly screens are just from the hardware store, and Ants has attached, just with silicone, magnets on each side. So we take it outside and put it on the outside of the bus. Obviously the bus is metal. Up the top we have another magnetic strip, and on the bottom it just attaches to the metal of the bus, and that is our fly screen solution. Here's an interesting thing that we made a decision on. We didn't know whether we wanted to go an east-west bed, which would mean a double size. Ant's 180 centimetres tall, and that would have been just a little bit shy for him to be able to lie out flat. So we decided to go the full north-south bed, which meant a king size, but this is not just a standard king size mattress. We opted to go a long single ×2. Now there was a dual purpose for that. One, so that if we ever needed to take the mattresses out for whatever reason, that is actually a feasible thing to do, because if you have a massive heavy latex, which we do, king mattress, getting that out would be so heavy. So we opted for the 2, but the second purpose is that this actually opens up. So we've got hinges under here that open up, and we can access the boot from inside the bus. So if it is torrential rain or pouring outside or snowing or whatever reason that we can't actually go outside, we can access everything from the boot inside by just simply lifting up the 2 sides of the mattresses. Up the back we have some more storage. Once again, we didn't want to go too crazy and have overhead cupboards, but we decided on the open shelf instead and filled it with our beautiful IKEA baskets that we absolutely love. And for us, it's enough. It really is enough. We have, yes, hit our heads a couple of times, but we haven't done it much at all lately, have we? We have become quite accustomed to it. We have 2 Sirocco fans here. We were umming and ahhing where that we should locate them, and we have actually moved them a couple of times to get the perfect spot, but we think we found it now. So being here, we can aim this one, and I can bring it down and turn it and bring it around and flip it down so that it can aim over when I'm sitting over at the table working, or it can obviously go back and aim at me at night time when I'm in bed. And then over on this side, same thing. This one can blow onto Ant when he's in the bed, or down directly onto him. And we have actually used them, especially when we were travelling through Queensland in summer and New South Wales. We use them almost every single day, and they've been fantastic. We also have 2 Max Air fans, which we have one just up under our bed, on top of our bed area, and then the other one is up the other end of the bus. Now when we turn those on, one on in and one on out, it actually circulates through this whole bus area in such a short period of time. So if we come in and it's really hot, which is definitely not the case at the moment, we can just get that hot air circulating out of the bus in no time at all. Sometimes what we do overnight to stop the condensation coming through is we might crack a window just the tiniest little bit and have that air flowing through and out the window, just at one end or the other if it's a little bit too cold. And they have been absolutely fantastic. I would definitely recommend having two, not just the one, so that you can get that full circulation of air coming through. I would say live outside the box, because life is so short, and the last 10 years for us has been like lightning speed. It has gone so fast, and I stop and look back and think, what did I consciously do to live my best life? And I can honestly say the last 4 months has filled so much of that 10 years.
When we were selling all our gear, we would constantly hear people say, oh, that's amazing, that's the dream, I would love to do that. Well, we made it happen. We didn't have a house to sell. We didn't have hundreds of thousands of dollars in savings. When we made the decision to do this, we had no savings. So we saved a bit of money, we built out the bus, and we did it. Anyone can achieve this.
Let go of the norms of society and what society dictates as responsible or mature, or within the box of what you should do when you're approaching thinking heavily about retirement years. As we both talk about all the time, routine is the killer of time, and we were in the routine. We were in the rat race, running the business, getting up at 4, going to bed at 10, seeing the alarm clock say you'll get 5 or 6 hours sleep, and it's crazy. To live a life that way is, for us now with this new perspective, foolishness. So I would say to her, forget the norm and live your dream.